Good evening. This is Jack for Charting the Markets, and this is the Bigger Picture webinar for the evening of Wednesday, the 8th of January. My disclaimer, I do this for educational purposes only. I'm here to share my technical analysis with you. I hope you can take some of what I'm doing, learn from it, transfer it to your own charts. I'm not here to issue trading signals. Right. Okay, let's have a look at the ES. Now, we had quite a promising looking setup for a move up this morning, but it never really amounted to anything, and it failed at the weekly pivot. We do have a week 60-minute buy signal fixed, and we have one also fixed, except a full-size one on NQ, which also is failing at the weekly pivot. RTY didn't do any better, and if you're thinking this looks overall an awful lot like a bear flag, well, you'd be right. So YM, lovely looking double bottom, but basically it's not really getting off the bottom so far. Now, it's still possible that we see a decent rally, and obviously we've got a day's holiday. We'll see whether that recovers sentiment at all, but at the moment, I was laying out in my last post 6 of one, and obviously thinking unsaid with half a dozen of the other, was that we had a decent rally set up here, but equally it could fail. Unless this changes, it's going to fail. All right, DAX, pretty close to a retest of the high here. 60-minute sell signal that's fixed, hasn't really done anything with that signal so far. 60-minute sell signal fixed on the STX so far as well. We've got a decent looking retracement here. This could be a head and shoulder forming. All right, let's have a look at the bigger picture charts. All right, looking at the SPX, hang on, SPX 15-minute. What have we got here in terms of pattern? Not an awful lot, really. This is too large to be a double bottom. Although if this high was down here, it would look great. And we don't have one on NDX either, because it was a tech-led rally, the last one. So, but we've got nice looking double bottoms on IWM, but YM. But at the moment, they're showing no enthusiasm playing out whatsoever. We do have a bit of positive divergence here. This is an RSI 5 buy signal which fixed earlier. That's made target, but we've got an RSI 5 buy signal that's fixed on the 60-minute chart, and that hasn't made target yet. What's the setup here? In terms of the downside, this would be a head and shoulders. This would be a left shoulder, head, right shoulder complex, and would need to break down soon. And this would have, if this breaks down under about the 58.10 area and converts it, then we would have a target in the 55.50 area. This trend line here, a nice 3-touch trend line here, and this would be the alternate bull flag resistance. Now, it's important to remember that even if we do break down from the head and shoulders, that once we break down from that, then we've got a choice. We can either head down to that target or reject back up to the high. But it's quite often, in effect, a head and shoulders acts as a disguised continuation flag. All right, on the daily chart, we are failing still at the daily middle band. This was a test and failed to get over it, test and failed to get over it, and really, well, it's not going well. So we need to get it. I was saying in my post that we need to get over that if we're going to see a retest the high, and that would be the rally scenario, and at the moment, we're really not getting over it. On ES, pretty much the same. Not a lot else to see. Looking at the Qs, got back over the daily middle band and then crash back. Often when you see a break over the daily middle band, you will see a strong rejection the next day. If you're going to see a rejection, and we saw a strong rejection the next day, this would usually deliver a retest of the prior low, which on here is at 505.71. Could this be a flag? Easily. And a flag that's breaking up slightly, but it's not showing a lot of enthusiasm for breaking up from it so far. We do, again, have an hourly RSI 5 buy signal fixed. On the 15-minute, nothing really to speak of, just a more in-depth look at the same flag. It's a nice flag, for sure. Is it going to play out? I don't know. The market seems very heavy. Dire, we never got close to the daily middle band, but for as close as we got to it, which was fairly close-ish, it's failed from there already. Hasn't made a lower low yet. We've got a possible week 6 RSI 14 buy signal brewing. On the hourly chart, we've got an RSI 14 buy signal that's reached the possible near miss target. Very nice looking double bottom here, but as you can see, Dire is not really making it off the mat. All right, let's have a look at IWM. Now, on the daily chart, again, 2 days testing of the daily middle band and a fail there so far. Now, it may well be that we've actually broken up from the double bottom here. Now, what I would typically see on a move like this would be a retest of the low next. Don't know whether we'll see one here, but we might. I would say that they're the only buy signals really on the daily charts, but we've got a weak RSI 14 buy signal fixed and a full RSI 5 buy signal fixed on the IWM chart. That was encouragingly bullish, but it's the only index that's showing those, and I'm not sure that's going to be enough. Nice looking double bottom here. You can see we've broken up. It's got a target. This is an alternate draw where I've drawn this as a possible bear flag, and it would be a pretty nice bear flag because on the alternate scenario, we may be about to break down. However, there is a valid looking double bottom here. It's broken up with a target in about the 233.5 area, and it could still make that target. But again, we're not really seeing much sign that it's going to get off the ground. DAX, we've got on the daily chart, we've got obviously considerably higher. I mean, this has partially been fueled by the fact that the euro was rallying a bit, and it's pulled back a bit as that's been reversed today. I'm looking around for. Okay. Obviously, I messed up on my. Or did I? All right, okay. This is an interesting chart I did the other day. I don't usually use log charts a lot, but sometimes when you're really searching around for a pattern, and when you have actually seen quite a large move over a not hugely long time, it's the best place to look. And actually, on the DAX daily, I was getting some nice patterns here. We're actually, this is a channel, and we'd be topping out within the channel. I do think we're going to see some retracement, but I'm thinking we may well see higher later next year. But I'm thinking we may well see some retracement first, and this would be an obvious place to see that from. In the meantime, we've got a weak RSI 14 sell signal fixed, and it's not showing a great deal of enthusiasm for making target, but that well could change. Nikkei, still kicking around near this 40.4k high, waiting to see if the rally gets going and we retest the all-time highs on EAFs, NQ, and maybe YM. Then we'd have a decent shot at reaching a retest of this high here at 42.4k. At the moment, as I said, seems to be open to question. We've got a day for things to cool down, then it's going to be Friday, which is usually weekly bullish, and then that takes us into next week. We will see, but if we're going to see a serious breakdown, it's probably going to be next week. All right, let's have a look at bear with me. All right, let's have a look at the CL chart. Okay, CL, we've got a little double top here, and it's actually trying to break down. Now, if it actually makes the target, that target would be in approximately that would be in about the 70.8 area, I think. That actually wouldn't take us far away from the monthly pivot. I am wondering if we might fail here because we have reached the bottom but nonetheless in the resistance area that I was talking about on the last Bigger Picture webinar. On NG, seeing a fair amount of retracement. I think a lot of this move was down to a revision upwards in temperatures, which of course will reduce gas consumption. But we are looking at, as I keep mentioning, we do have usually a period where we make a significant low between February and April, and we are in that headwind zone. So it wouldn't surprise me at all to see more downside. But I'm no longer looking for a retest to low. I think that's just too far away now. All right, let's have a look at those on the bigger picture charts. All right, CL. This is a tiny bit of negative divergence and a very, very small RSI 5 sell signal. You can see that on the daily chart as well, on the daily RTH chart as well. This could be, this is, I was talking about a couple of resistance levels here. I had the 200 EMA, which is where it's failing at the moment. That was the first resistance level I was looking at. I was looking at this one. These are the three main ones. This trend line here in the 76 area, and this trend line here, the most important and the final one, in about the 77.5 area. At the moment, we're failing at the 200 DMA, and this does have a history of failing at 200 DMA. We failed at the high there in August. We failed at the high there in October, and we may well be failing there now. We will see how that goes. But I'm quite liking the downside here, and we still have a triangle that's broken down with a target in the retest of 63.57. All right, natural gas. No current divergence on the daily chart. Obviously, we had a pretty serious break over this declining resistance. On the bigger picture chart, I am thinking we might see a reversal here, but obviously we've got a weak RSI 14 sell signal brewing. One could argue that's fixed, but not with any confidence. Waiting to see whether this develops to the downside and whether also, particularly, it breaks below the daily middle band, which I've got at 3.47. We will see how it goes. All right, let's have a look at GC. GC. I've commented a couple of times that this would make a very nice bear flag, and it would still make a very nice bear flag. Now, when I come to DX, you could see a situation where that could play out, although I'm leaning cautiously the other way at the moment. But obviously, we could break up from there, and actually, SI looks as though it is already breaking up from there. We've got a nice looking double bottom that's broken up with a target in about 31.8 area. On HG, we've seen a powerful move up. I had a 60-minute sell signal fixed this morning, and that's done absolutely nothing. We've seen a decent move. All right, let's have a look at those on the bigger picture charts. All right, gold. No current divergence on the daily chart. I was wondering about a possible triangle here, but it's moving very slowly at the moment. We'll see. We're back over the daily middle band, though, I think. Yes, we are, just. And we will see whether it can consolidate above. Partially, that's likely to depend on the dollar. All right, on the index chart, still no divergence. Still wondering about a potential bullish triangle here. If so, the next target would be in about the 27.25 area. All right, let's have a look at silver. No current divergence here. It looks like we got a buy signal here, but it wasn't, because this wasn't a lower low. But decent move up, nice looking little double bottom, which has played up. We've seen a break over the daily middle band today. It would be nice to see that consolidate and move up from there. We'll see how that goes. Do we have still potentially a head and shoulders, which is broken down with the target in the 24.25 area? Yes, we do. But the alternate is we get back over 33.33, and the head and shoulders, just as I was describing, I was saying this was one of the standard options, could then be, at that stage, the head and shoulders would fail, and the obvious next target would be a retest of 35.07. All right, looking at HG, we had a possible RSI 5 buy signal brewing, and that has suddenly made target. Which is great, not hugely useful from a trading point of view, of course, but so we're seeing a decent move here. We have a very nice looking potential level bottom here. If we see a sustained break up over 4.335, then that would have a target at about the 4.63 area, I think. So that could be a pretty decent move. It can get us much of the way back up to a retest this high here at 4.8. Could this be a larger double bottom here? Well, let's have a look. No, I don't think so. This high would be too high, and actually on the index chart, it hasn't made the full retest of this low in any case. But it still could be the start of a significant move up. We will see. All right, let's have a look at palladium. Palladium has broken up over this wedge resistance. Slightly cautious about that, and doesn't really mean a lot until it breaks over the daily middle band, which has now been testing for a couple of days. On platinum, was this a double bottom in the end? Not really. I'm wondering about this possibly being an inverted head to shoulder neckline at 991.3. If so, we'd like to see a reversal, ideal reversal to 941.70, and that would set up a nice pattern. But at the moment, we haven't got one. We had a nice looking double bottom here, but then it went lower, and now we don't. All right, let's have a look at GDX. GDX, seeing some nice moves here, not broken over this declining resistance yet, but I think it's got a shot at doing so. You can see it's getting pretty close, and I've got that in about the 36.2 area. Looking at GDXJ, some way short of it. This is a nice looking bull flag. It really is a very nice looking one. If we can see a break up over this resistance in about the 47.4 area, then it's got a shot. And I'd love to see that, but I think in part that will depend on the dollar. Let's have a look at the dollar. Okay, ZB and the dollar first. So dollar first. Okay, I was talking in pre-market videos, I think, where we had this decline from the high, which I'm thinking, because this area is a candidate top for this move. if it breaks up, then the obvious target, in my view, would be the retest of the high at 114.75 to make the second high of what would very possibly be the second high of a double top. But in terms of the short term, this is a potential high. We've seen a move down here. We're seeing a retest of the high. I would expect to see a full retest of the high. We will see how that plays out in the next few days. ZB, we had a nice looking double bottom set up here. That didn't play out. I was saying I was leaning more towards a fail further down. We have got a 60-minute buy signal fixed, and we are seeing a little bit of a rally, but I think this is probably on the way down to, well, up to my TNX target, which I'll be coming to. But on ZB, I'm thinking that would be in about the 104 to 106 area. All right, let's have a look at those on the bigger picture charts. Okay, DX. All right, we've got a possible RSI 14 sell signal brewing, and we've got an RSI 5 sell signal fixed. That is encouraging for a reversal here. Do we have an overall pattern? Yes. I'm not sure that helps an awful lot, but we actually tested this trend line again. Sorry, I'm just going to have a look at something. Let's have a quick look at the trend lines here. Does that go anywhere? Actually, I think it might. All right, actually, that could... No, actually, I'm not sure. Hang on, bear with me a moment. Nope, that's not happening. Could that be... Hang on 1 second. Nope, that's not happening either. It's not obvious that this has actually turned into a wedge, although I was wondering about that because of the test of this support trend line. That support trend line is important if we are going to see a breakdown, but we haven't seen that breakdown yet. We could be forming a topping pattern here, though. Retest the high, could be setting up a double top. We'll see how that goes. I am also wondering about a possible test of this resistance here. When I was down here and we were talking about the rally and we broke up a bit and we made the double bottom target, I was then saying if we were to hit the obvious trendline target, there was only really one obvious trendline target, and it was this one here. And we're pretty close to it. I've got that up in about the 109.7 area, and I'm thinking we might hit it. We will see. If I have time, I'm going to have a post on this out tomorrow. But we've got some encouraging looking patterns elsewhere, but really this is a decision that the dollar needs to make here. We've got a fair amount of negative divergence. We will see how it goes. This is now an RSI 14 sell signal, and this is still a brewing RSI 5 sell signal, and this is a brewing RSI 14 sell signal. How do the others look? Well, Euro could be forming a little double bottom. And you can see this looks like a slight overthrow of a huge bull flag. So, and if we see a reversal here, it could be a big reversal, i.e. take dollar back to places it hasn't seen in a long time. In terms of GBP USD, could have a little double bottom here too. USD JPY. Obvious target would be a bit higher, but we have made the double bottom target. USD CAD has really been going all guns blazes to the upside, really. But I'm quite liking potentially a reversal here. These do look like they might be bottoming setups and topping setups to back up a fail on the dollar here. We will see how that goes. But if we go up on the dollar, what I will be looking at is a retest of this high here, which would be the 2022 high at 114.75. If we see that retest, then that could well be the second high of a double top, and then we would see the dollar decline, which might be starting early now. All right, let's have a look at the TNX chart, and on the 60-minute chart, we've got an RSI 14 sell signal, which reaches possible near miss target. That is now played out. We've got a tiny bit of negative divergence, but really it's barely worth the mention. So we could be reversing back down here. It's not a lot to be going on, but I think the bigger picture chart here, as you can see on the daily chart, this was a big high at 49.97. We saw a flag. That flag broke up, and we're now within 0.3, less than 0.3% rising yields gets us to that retest. Now, normally I'd expect to see the full retest. I know people have been talking about this a lot, but we could, if we form a double top, then actually start dropping considerably. But I'm skeptical about that. I'm thinking that when we get there, it's going to be a big inflection point. We will see how things look on tariffs and inflation. Inflation is not yet conquered. And I did say in a big picture a few weeks ago that that the Fed liked people to think that they set interest rates, and actually they don't. It's the bond market. And actually, a very good illustration here is what's happened since the Fed started cutting rates. They cut rates by 1%, and rates went up. Actual rates, real rates determined on 10-year bonds, went up over 1%. And that just illustrates the fact that the Fed doesn't really control interest rates. It's actually all about the bond market. Now, the fact is, if inflation goes higher, chances are interest rates are going to go higher too. And one way they can go higher is with high tariffs. If we find that trade, if there is a major disruption to trade, then it could slow the economy. If there are large amounts of tariffs being levied on things that people in America are then having to buy, then prices will go up and inflation will go with it. If that happens, then actually we could go considerably higher than this high. I don't know whether that is going to happen. It's hard to know what Trump really means to do. I was watching the Greenland and Canada discussion today with some incredulity. I mean, how much is he serious about? If he's serious about tariffs, though, that can have a big impact on bond yields, and that would be likely to be an upward move. And if we did do that, then, well, I've got a possible IHS here which is broken up and it hasn't failed yet, and it's got a target at 8.1. Now, that I would be surprised to see in the next year or two, but if things go badly, it's reachable. And actually, it would be almost exactly a 50% retracement of this huge decline in bond yields between 1982 and the low in 2020. So we'll see. All right, great. Let's have a look at the KC chart. Okay, KC still looks like a bull flag, hasn't really done a lot since Sunday. SB still looking for a potential bottom to form here. We could be forming an inverted head and shoulders right shoulder here, but equally we could be coming back in to retest the low. I'm quite liking a rally on sugar here. We'll see. CC. CC, I'm keeping an open mind. This could be a bull flag that's formed, broken up, and is on the way back to a retest of this high here, just under 13,000. Or we could be looking at ABC, do a lower low, and then probably go back and do that retest. ZW, nice looking double bottom here. Not really been doing a lot with it. On corn, we had a double top. It broke down. Then it rejected back up to the high. And we've now got another potential double top. So if that breaks down, that would have a target about the 438 area, I think, and we'll see. But at the moment, it's consolidating, and it may well just continue higher. Soy was looking as though it was forming a bull flag, and it still looks as though it's forming a bull flag. I'm really expecting to see at least a retest of this high in the not too distant future. On cotton, still haven't seen a full retest of this low. I'm quite liking this as a bottoming pattern forming as part of a nested double bottom. So I would love to see a big rally on cotton, and I think we might get it. Lumber. I'm wondering whether this is a bear flag. If so, we'd go up to like 610 or 615 and then fell back into the lows. But maybe. I'd love to see a move up to there and a sell signal. And that could set up a nice little trade down to the lows. But at the moment, there's nothing particularly concrete to say, apart from it's looking a bit overbought short term. On live cattle, nice little retracement here. 60-minute sell signal hasn't made target yet. This is a potential level top, and I would note that we're now testing the double top support. If we see a sustained break back below the current weekly pivot, then that would have a target basically back pretty close to the monthly pivot at 190.24, and I'm thinking we might see that. Looking at lean hogs, this is a potential bull flag megaphone, and at the moment, well, we're holding the megaphone. We've lost the potential level bottom we had here, but certainly this trend line here is being respected. Until that breaks down sustainably, I'm moving towards the upside here. And we've got a weak 60-minute buy signal fixed. We'll see how it goes, but I think as long as this trend line support is holding, I'm leaning up. And so far, all we've been doing is strengthening this pattern. I'd be expecting to see this reverse back up soon. All right, let's have a look at the bigger picture charts on those. On KC, we've got an RSI 14 sell signal fixed, and it may be that we've got more consolidation coming. Got to say, though, we're not going to see this target made within the context of the flag I've drawn on the hourly chart. So we may need to see more downside on sugar. RSI 5 buy signal fixed, weak RSI 14 buy signal fixed. as I said, I'm leaning towards a low forming here. On CC, nice retracement here. Might have lower to go. What was this an ABC? If so, are we going to head down to 8750 area and then maybe return back up to the high? We'll see. On wheat, RSI 14 buy signal fixed, hasn't delivered a lot so far, but we are seeing some breaks up over this line of resistance, and we've got a potential double bottom here. We'll see how it goes. On corn, no current divergence. We've hit a potential trend line here. As I said, unless we see some significant further upside, I'll still be wondering if this is a flag that we've been bear flag that we've been forming for the last 4 months. On soy, nice looking wedge breaking up. We'll see how it goes from here. No current divergence. On cotton, unless we see a retest of this low here at 67.48, we're not going to see any positive divergence. Although if we do see that, then we could see that on the hourly chart. That's one reason I'd be quite keen to see this low retest. We're not necessarily going to get it. We're failing repeatedly at the daily middle band. I'm wondering about seeing that retest before we do anything else. If we do, then we've potentially got a little double bottom here. We've got a possible daily buy signal brewing, and we've got a larger potential double bottom here. This could be, therefore, a very reasonable move. All right, great. In that case, I think it's a wrap. I will see you guys again on Sunday. Enjoy the holiday, and I'll catch you later.